Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
Okay, I think we have a quorum. It's 7 o'clock. I'll now call the meeting of the Saxtons River Village Trustees to order. We are meeting only remotely.
Did you click on the thing to put the sound on?
I can mute you. I've muted you, Jean. So we are meeting remotely only. If anyone has an issue getting hold of us, the phone number to call is 802-376-4639. That's the number if you have technical difficulties. Having called us to order, are there any public comments? I know we have members of the public present. Gordon and Jean Corstange, Stan Talstra. Any public comments before we get started with the gist of the meeting? Okay, hearing none, we're on to the business of the meeting. So the Declaration of Inclusion is something that I asked the board to think about. I've also been making an effort to ask my friends and neighbors, and I'm getting the feeling that nobody feels this is that important. So I'm wondering whether to bring it up under other business at the annual meeting, which happens next Monday night. I throw that out there, and I'm happy, of course, to be corrected if people have thought about it and have different impressions.
I think it's a good idea.
Put it out. Or,
yes.
Okay. All right. Carl, Rick, any comments on your part?
Good with me.
I think it would be appropriate to do that. Table our discussion of it, sure.
Okay. It also occurs to me that at some point we may get to do an Australian vote, an Australian ballot. And I've been watching with great interest Rockingham's movement towards this. They're getting such good numbers with the voting population. I know this was something Gordon suggested to us when we talked about how to hold our annual meeting. It's very persuasive to me that you get double, triple, quadruple the number of people voting that you do attending an annual meeting. So something to talk about as we go forward. All right, moving on. Carl, you provided the list of motions. With your permission, I'll share those unless you would prefer to go down and read them from your screen. No, what's your preference?
That's fine for you to share. I do want to make a comment on two of them.
Okay.
I can wait until we come to them.
Okay, so hold on. Let me screen share first. And I'm pretty sure I put these up.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I wish, I honestly wish.
Crud, I'm not seeing them. Hold on. I guess I've got to go back and look. I was so sure I had them, but now they're not showing up. Just a minute, please. (2022) motions. There we go. There they are. And now I think I can share the screen and show them to you all. I don't know why, but I'm just not able to do it.
I've got it. If you want me to try to share it.
That would be great. Let me make you a co-host and we can proceed with that. I don't know why everything is clunky for me tonight, but it is. Okay. You are now co-host of this meeting. And the share button should be available to you. Are you seeing it?
I see the share button, yes. Here we go. So, so there's a format. I just took this from traditional sources, not being very creative. So this is the same sort of document that's been handed out to trustees at past annual meetings. So there's a sort of a procedure that we follow for all of the nominations, which is somebody, and we assign a trustee to do each nomination. It says Mr. Moderator or Ms. Moderator, if it's not Guy or another male, I nominate candidate X for the position of village trustee for a term of 1 year or 2 years. And then the moderator will ask for a second, will ask for further nominations, move to close nominations, and someone will second it. A vote to close, the moderator declares the nominations closed. And if there's no contest for the position, which there typically isn't, the moderator will direct me to cast one vote for whoever the candidate nominated was.
Great. That's very clear to me. Are other people comfortable with this going forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Rick, are you okay with this?
I will speak up if I am not.
Okay. So I see that I am nominating the 1-year position of moderator currently held by Guy Payne, who is seeking re-election.
And that's
Okay.
correct, because until we have a moderator elected, you're in charge of the meeting.
Great. You know how much I love that.
And
That's
once we
perfect.
nominate Guy, you turn over the meeting to him.
Perfect. Okay, so Article 2 looks like you, Carl.
Yeah, I put myself there just because for the past couple of years, Ben Wallace has been making that, and he was the vice chair. I'm
Sure.
happy to let anybody else make this motion if they want.
Hearing none, let's accept Carl and move on. Okay, so Article 3 is elections.
Yeah, now, if you noticed that there were any positions that were in the warning that I forgot here in this motion, I need to know about it and change it. So if you happen to find any, we want to make sure that we have all of those reports covered and voted on to be approved.
Are you talking about the warning or the annual report?
So in the warning, it says to hear the reports of blah, 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 trustees, treasurer, fire department, fast squad, and so forth. If you happen to have noticed that the warning listed a report that I forgot here, let me know so that we can put it in the motion that's made.
Okay, I can call it up. Let's see if I can do that.
I checked, but I'm a notoriously sloppy proofreader. So.
You know, that's good enough. If you've checked, I think that's fine. So
Okay.
let me just point out that water pollution control facility is not something we have. That's right after tax collector.
That's the wastewater treatment plant.
Well, it says water pollution control facility in your motion.
Yeah, that's what it said in previous motions. What does it say in the warning?
Hold on, let's get the warning up.
Did you call it up or should I?
Nope, I'll be happy to.
I think water pollution control facility is the formal nice name for a sewer plant because it doesn't sound as crappy.
Yep, I think
No
so.
pun intended.
Huh. We don't usually call it the wastewater treatment plant.
Well,
mean,
we
I'm
do
fine
we
with
do in
whatever,
our
but-
meeting minutes and everything, but in the annual meeting, we have not.
Weird.
I wondered
Okay.
what that plant was too. And if anybody asks, we can say that's the sewer plant.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. It's probably in the annual meeting docs. And there it is, the annual meeting warning. To hear the reports of the trustees, treasurer, auditors, fire department, fast squad, tax collector, water pollution control facility, recreation center, and Wyndham County Sheriff. Yep, and that's what you had, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I think we're good. And the officers, if you want me to read those off, and you can double check, 3 trustees, treasurer, tax collector, collector of delinquent taxes, village clerk, and 3 auditors.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I think we're good.
Okay, and so then we have 3 trustees, 2-year position, which I hold, and I'm seeking reelection. A 2-year term, which we gave to Ellen,
Woohoo.
who is seeking reelection, and the 1-year term, which Rick has, which was also seeking reelection. If anybody wants to back out, this would be a good time.
Do you
Good,
need
hearing none.
names for these, or are you all right with us just making motions?
Well, no, no, I think I would like to know who's going to make each nomination.
Opportunities to screw it up, but sure.
So typically, one person nominates each position. So for example, Matt might nominate the first one, Rick might nominate the second one, Ellen might nominate the third, and so forth.
How about Amy can nominate Carl, Ellen can nominate Rick, and Rick can nominate Ellen?
Yep.
Well, that works.
Okay.
Did you get that, Carl? Do we need to say that
I'm,
again? Oh, you're writing it in.
I'm
Great.
I'm typing it in here, yes.
Yep, great.
Okay. Treasurer,
I'd be happy to do that one.
okay. Tax collector. Why don't we give that one to Matt, since he's not here to defend himself?
When you have these composed, can you send them to everybody, Carl?
Yes,
Great, thank you.
yes. I'll send everybody a copy, and I'll highlight the ones that each of us are making.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're up to village clerk for a 1-year
No, our
term.
delinquent taxes,
Okay,
which right now is jointly Sarah and Melinda. And I don't know how that's been working out in practice, if they've both been doing it or not, but
I think just Sarah. Well, let's get a name down and we'll go from there. So we've done Amy, Matt, so let this be Carl.
I'll let it be Ellen, because I've already.
Ellen, okay.
All right.
And then the next one is Rick Holloway. Okay,
And auditors. So we have 3.
yep. So Tom Bowen is stepping down.
Okay, so he is not seeking reelection.
That's correct. And Teresa Spear has agreed to stand.
Okay, so Who wants to nominate Alex?
I'll nominate Alex.
Okay.
I can nominate Peter.
I can do the replacement for Tom.
So
Okay,
it's Teresa Spear. I don't know if you know her, Ellen. She lives
I
2
don't.
houses up from me.
Mm-mm.
She actually, Peter Bergstrom found her and she went and reviewed with him the steps for auditing.
Okay,
And was helpful. So I think it was a good match. Okay, so we're up to the
Okay.
budget.
yes, this is what I want to talk about. So first of all, I think since I'm the one that made the budget and people will be mad at whoever put it together for the size of the budget, I should take the heat for it. But if somebody else wants to be the one to make the motion,
You can have it,
happy.
Carl. We will all let you do that.
So
thought
I
you would.
think it makes sense for you to make the motion and then questions get directed to you. But Carl, all of us had a strong role in passing this budget. So, don't even use that language. This is
No, I
our
won't.
budget and we are happy to defend it. But I'm very happy to have questions come to you because I think you know it the best of all of us.
Okay.
So I'll
Second
second
point-
the motion.
Pardon?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Second point I want to make about this is that in the past, there's always been a positive cash on hand balance. It hasn't always been big, but it's been positive. And so the budget was $60,000, of which $50,000 will be raised by, or of which rather $10,000 will be taken from cash on hand and the remainder raised by taxes. So I had to play with the verbiage a little bit because the cash on hand raises our budget, not lowers it.
Mhm.
And
I
the
think
only-
that's fine.
And so if you're comfortable with this wording, now what the residents see in the annual report will be the general fund budget of $60,050. Sorry, I'm sorry, $55,254, the general operating expenses. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is that $5,200. Okay, so this was what, when I asked Sarah what the cash on hand was back in March sometime when I was putting this together, she came up with that number of a $5,246 negative amount in cash on hand. If you look at the treasurer's report in the annual meeting, that's a different number. It's a $1,800 or $1,900, I forget, but it's between $1,000 and $2,000, not $5,246. I emailed Sarah over the weekend asking to clarify the difference, and I got an answer from her saying she'd be back in town late last night and she'd get a hold of me. So far, I haven't heard from her. So I don't know why the two numbers don't agree. And I don't know which number we should use.
I have notes from the last meeting that I was at on March 28th. And it says here, cash on hand, 2,000 into reserve SRV meeting. 1,800 is close to 2,000. Do you think that has anything to do with it? Or did I just like give too much information?
It could be anything. I mean, but no, I think that what it is that some funds were not accounted for correctly when she went through and did the first draft. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's correct, Carl.
She did
But
not.
we have a
she did not-
second draft in the annual report.
Yeah, so if
I
so,
don't think you want to pay any attention to the first draft. That's not a published document.
okay. I
It
just
does
wanna
not,
make sure-
it does not appear in the warning. I mean, let's be honest here. All of us are learning through this process.
No,
And Sarah was
my
very
point is not to care about what the difference is, but for the purposes of making this motion, I would like to correct that $5,246 to whatever balance appears in the treasurer's report. $1,200 or something.
So the annual reports are out.
Yes.
I would suggest that you get hold of the annual report and review it and discuss it with Sarah so
Well,
that
that's
you're
what I'm trying to do,
comfortable.
but I haven't heard from Sarah yet.
Okay, but in the annual report, what is the figure?
Well, that's where I got the $1,200 from the treasurer's report in the annual report. I don't remember what the number is, and I don't have the annual report up in front of me, but it's less than $5,200.
Yeah, my recollection is that she misunderstood the meaning of cash on hand. And we spent some time discussing that at the last meeting.
Okay, so I will change that number, and I will change the total budget number to reflect whatever that new balance is.
Yeah, Carl, I think the important thing is get the right numbers in here. And if it's different than what we put in the annual report, you may want to just note that it's corrected due to updated information.
Well, yeah, so I think that what I have right here is probably incorrect, and what's in the annual report is correct.
Yes, I think you're right.
So
Okay.
I think that we should change it to what's in the annual report.
I agree.
Because somebody out there in the audience will be going through this, or will have gone through this annual report, and may pick up on the fact that we're saying $5,000, and that's not what the treasurer tells us.
And there's no reason for us to say $5,000. That was a first draft, correct?
That's right. I just want to make sure that we're comfortable, since Sarah's not here to tell us what the basis of the difference is, that we are comfortable with changing it if I don't hear reason from her not to.
Okay, we also have one more meeting before, am I right? No, we do
Nope.
not have another meeting.
Nope,
This
we
is
do not
it.
have another meeting.
Yeah. Well, I would ask you to be clear with Sarah. I don't think we are forced in this meeting to script what will be said, as long as it agrees with the annual report and as long as you and Sarah are clear on what it covers.
Whatever is in the motion governs how much money we've got to spend. So the
I
motion's got
know,
to be right.
no, I know, absolutely.
Okay. So I will follow up with Sarah when I can get a hold of her, and make sure that we're clear on this. And if after talking with her, I come to the conclusion that the figure in the annual report is the actual correct figure, then that's what I'll use.
Okay,
I'm not enough of an accountant to really understand what difference it makes what number we throw in there. I've always been mystified by the cash on hand in the way we do our village accounting. At the first annual meeting that I attended, a lot of people were confused, and Dave Moore raised the question of the treasurer, and it was properly clarified, and I still don't understand it.
so go ahead, Rick.
The report, in the annual report, it says the 5246 number.
Does it?
Yep.
Well, that's what I'll have to use then. So where did I get the other report? Sarah emailed me. I emailed an annual report.
It says the amount to be raised increases by the negative cash on hand balance of $5,246.
Is this in Sarah's report or is this in?
This is the Village of Saxtons River General Account Financial Report Proposed Budget 2022-2023
No, I-
with a total budget of $58,450.
Okay,
$20,000 from cash on hand transferred to the fire station development account rather than applying it to the budget.
is that? Well, it might have been what I sent to you. Yes. Okay. So then if you look, are you, do you have the annual report in front of you then?
Yes, sir.
Can you scroll on down to Sarah's treasurer's report for the village general fund and see what she says there?
Thought that was her report.
No,
It
that
is a
was the one that
report.
we put together.
Well, Sarah's report is on page 19. Actual expenses over and under budget. And then the general account proposed budget is what I think you're referring to as your budget, Carl, which is the next page, page 20.
Yeah,
Sarah, hey, Sarah's here. She can answer
oh,
it.
Sarah, you're here.
Yes, I just got out of another meeting.
Well, your timing couldn't be better.
What are we
Okay,
chatting
so-
about?
We're talking about the cash on hand.
Okay, go on.
So we put together when we worked up the budget, we put it together based on the figure of $5,246 negative cash on hand
Yeah.
that you had told me. And then I looked at the treasurer's report.
Are
that
you frozen or am I?
Pardon?
I think, Sarah, you must be frozen because we're doing okay.
Yeah,
Carl,
yes.
I think you froze.
Oh,
At least for me, you did.
oh, you froze for me and everybody else was moving, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you, when we were starting to to work up the budget, you worked up the figure for the cash on hand.
Yeah,
Of a $5,246 deficit,
yes.
okay? Then when I looked at the treasurer's report, which you emailed,
Yeah,
which shows up in the annual report, it was still a deficit, but it was less. It was
yeah, yes,
1,000 and something,
yeah.
okay? Which is the correct number?
The 18, whatever it is. I'm sorry. I literally didn't have a chance to bring anything with me. I was trying to get off the other call.
So in your report, Sarah.
I know, I'm just trying to think of how to say this. It's the one that's $1,800, not the $5,400.
Okay. So then when I make this motion, I will base it on the 1,800, whatever the exact amount is, rather than the 5,200, which brings down the total budget by about $3,000.
Yes.
Okay,
It would be my recommendation not to replace that with anything,
what do you mean not to replace it?
not to throw in anything else into the budget.
I don't understand you.
So not to add to the budget, like $3,000 to put into a capital reserve.
No, we can't do that
Right.
because those amounts that we're going to put into different categories are already published.
Okay.
So what I would just do is in the motion for the budget that's actually passed, I will change the amount from $5,200 to $1,800. And I'll change the general fund budget from 60,000 to 5,800 or 58,000 or whatever the numbers work out to.
So before we go any further, could I share my screen and show you Sarah's budget? I'm not seeing this mystical $1,800, and I'd like to make sure that we're using the right.
Okay, I will
Do you-
stop sharing.
Okay, and I will share. Hopefully I can. Here's the annual report. And thank you for your patience, everyone. I feel like I'm contradicting myself. So can everybody see Saxons River Village Corporation general account? So Sarah, this is what I think of as your report.
Yeah, so keep
And
going down.
The
Okay.
bottom line, is that what
Bottom
we're
line.
looking at?
First
I
line
believe
in
what we're
the,
looking at, I'm sorry, it's not 1,800, Amy. It's cash on hand, 1,039.61, which is actually a negative. It should be in red, but we don't do
And
red.
because it's in parentheses, I assume it's a negative.
That's correct.
So that's our figure.
That is our figure.
so that is the number that I should use for the motion that in the budget that the voters will approve.
Yes.
Okay. Amy?
Yes.
Can you scroll up, when everybody's done with this, can you scroll up to the budget worksheet? I think it's the previous.
It's the
page.
next one.
Next one, okay.
It's our general account financial
Yep,
report,
keep going.
proposed budget.
Keep
Is that the
scrolling.
one you want?
Yep.
So
Cool.
down here, it says the amount to be
Okay.
raised increases by the negative cash on hand balance. So perhaps when we
So we have
correct
a
the
discrepancy.
reports, when we ask to accept the reports in the warning, we should make a point of going and correcting this page.
Yes.
So that
That's
it
a good
matches
idea.
the previous page, the treasurer's report.
Yeah, so that they match.
Is that all right with everyone? Anybody who feels this is sets a poor example, please indicate at this point. If you're okay, you don't have to say anything. Okay, I think we have a plan, Carl.
Okay, good.
Should I stop sharing?
Well, why don't you go back to, can you, or you don't have the motions, do you? I had that. Okay, let me just share the motions because I just wanted to make one more comment.
Okay, I'm stopping my share.
Okay, the other thing that other change that I made that I thought was appropriate is in Article 5, that the tax collector and the collector of delinquent taxes be able to take whatever legal action is necessary rather than just the tax collector. Are you comfortable with that, Sarah?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Is everybody else
Yep.
comfortable with that?
So it reflects the fact that we have one person doing both jobs.
No, this is in case we had two different people doing them.
Doing, right, and that, so that either person could go and get the lien.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've
It is
left-
also gonna move, I believe well, maybe not, because I would have to read whether it moves the head of the board out of that, so that I could just sign it to get the lien, as opposed to needing to get Amy to sign the lien as well.
I'm happy to sign.
I would prefer always to have somebody else.
Yeah, let's leave it. So again, this is which motion? This is
This is
Article 5, voters authorize the tax collector and the collector of delinquent taxes to take whatever legal action is
So
necessary.
that little phrase in blue, and the collector of delinquent taxes, I inserted.
Okay.
And
That
if
sounds
it's
all
okay,
right.
We can leave it.
Yep.
Okay. So the next article is the authority that Sarah has to ask us to take money out of the essentially to borrow money from the capital reserve to pay the operating expenses until the taxes come in.
That sounds fine.
Who wants to make that motion?
I'll
Matt
be
does.
Who
Pardon?
does?
Matt,
Okay. Oh, and who wants to make the motion on the tax collector and the collector of delinquent taxes?
I'll make that.
Okay. And so that's it. The last one is any other business proper to be brought before this meeting.
And I will, at that point, ask the opinion of the group about a declaration of inclusion, and we'll see if there's any other business. Hopefully, somebody will have something nice to say about the village market or the state of the roads or the paving that was done, but it's up to the will of the body what happens with Article 7.
Well, we could always plant a few quotes.
Are we on record, Carl?
Yes,
Well,
we
we're on
are.
Fact
Of
TV,
course we
so
are.
yeah.
Okay.
I won't put that in the minutes, though.
Is there any other discussion of any other business to transact any other business? Everybody understands this is non-binding, but it's useful.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. So
Well
then,
done, Carl.
I'm done. Thank you.
So you'll complete that and send that to us, and
I'll
we'll
send
have
that-
it in order to make our motions.
I'll send that to everybody, yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for your painstaking work getting us through that. And Sarah, you really know how to make an appearance. That was just in the nick of time.
Well,
Well
all I
done.
keep saying to myself is next year is going to be so much easier.
It is. It totally is. So now I have, in my excitement over these motions, I have completely mislaid my pre-planned script for what comes next. So I guess I'll have to go back and get it.
What do you mean, the agenda?
Yes, the agenda. Go ahead. You
Okay.
work us down the agenda. What's next,
All right.
Ellen?
Hold on.
Questions or
Okay, so-
committee reports?
Yep.
Committee reports. Okay. First off, what do we have? The park?
Yes.
All right, I will report briefly on the park. The park committee has met. They would like us to move forward with hiring someone for the, here it is, I found my notes. With hiring a student for mowing. With your permission, I'll take that on. I'll ask the student who finished the season for us last year, and if he can't do it, I'll poke around and find someone else local. Is that all right with everyone? I believe we paid $25 each time last summer, which
No, 50.
50?
I can go check right now, but yeah, I think so.
There might have been a
Here,
50 stipend.
let me open the computer and see how long that takes for the computer to come up.
Never mind. I will offer what we paid last year. It's not important to go right back to it. There's been some discussion on the committee about whether it was all right to add elements to the design that Julie Moore-Maservi created for the garden. And the head of the committee, Margaret Vandenberg, reached out to Julie and found that she was delighted with the idea that the committee has taken over the garden and has their own ideas. Julie recommended lots of color and encouraged them to go forward on their own. So I think that was a great moment there. So look for color in the garden to come. The committee is reviewing the policy and application procedure that they came up with last summer. I know that I cut off discussion a little abruptly on this last year, and I apologize for that. Would you like to entertain a review of that policy after annual meeting?
Was that the policy? I'm sorry, that was a policy for reserving time at the park? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
A policy and a payment structure. And I think the payment structure was the issue.
I think maybe it would be appropriate for us to say yes or no on a payment structure.
Okay. So let's put that on a future agenda. I assume we will probably have everybody we have, but I'll ask the park committee for specifics, and then we can review the policy. They've always been very clear that it was up to the trustees. It is up to the trustees to approve or alter the policy. So I'm going to put that on for an agenda to come. The 4th of July committee. They have been in touch. Sue Hernandez may be here. She works until 7:45. But she asked me to take care of contacting the sheriff. They pick up the tab, but we make the contact since we have the contract with the sheriff. There will be no fireworks this year. I think we knew that pretty routinely, but the 4th of July committee plans to use both Main Street and the rec again. So brace yourself, Ellen.
I'm bummed about the fireworks.
Yeah, I think they're bummed too, but apparently there were groups that continued to purchase fireworks during the 2 COVID years. And since Saxtons River did not, they lost their place in line. So I sense that the committee is not unhappy about this. I'm speaking out of turn, but I had the feeling that they thought that maybe that event had gotten a little rowdy. Very, very different in feel from the rest of the day. Sarah, I see your hand.
The fireworks also has a minimum of $10,000.
Oh, why not?
To do fireworks. It's the first big year after COVID. It makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah, but I just had my front porch rebuilt so that everybody could come and watch the fireworks, you guys.
Well,
You know I've got the best spot in the house.
We'll have to think of some other use for that front porch.
Oh, can I
We
shoot
can
fireworks
sit on it.
off?
You can grill for us.
I can make Paul do that.
Great. Okay. The 4th of July event is covered by our insurance. I spoke to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. The planning grant for Main Street Arts, we're still working on the RFP for the new consultant. I am partially guilty in my effort to get the annual report done. I have not reviewed the final RFP that Gary has sent out. But I know Main Street Arts, both co-chairs have reviewed it and liked it very much. So that's going to go out soon. The water infrastructure, I asked for an update from Patrick Smart of MSK Engineering on April 14th, and he got in touch with the revolving loan fund, and we still haven't heard back. They're overdue, but we heard initially that they were swamped with applications, so I'm sure that's it. I believe we can postpone the Hartley Hill intersection to another meeting. Is that correct, Carl?
That's fine. I haven't had time to follow through.
Okay. The fire station. Ellen, have you heard anything about the feasibility study?
No, I haven't. Not at
Okay.
all. And Amy, I'm sorry. I meant to talk to you about this further because of how ARPA changed and what you could include in on ARPA, that we
Yes.
could actually possibly fund a fire department through ARPA.
Well, we have
So-
we have $148,000. That is not funding for a new fire station.
Right. But then,
But
so the $148,000.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, I understand now, because I was thinking we were allocated more money. They just loosened the restrictions.
no, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me review that for everybody because it's very confusing. And I have to admit, I was so skeptical. I would not believe Gary Fox. But in fact, the federal funding called the American, help me with this, American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, has allowed every municipality in the nation to file what is called a standard allowance. And this was the topic of our special meeting. Thank you all for coming that early, 7 a.m. to pass that. So the standard allowance means we can spend that money up to $2 million, which we don't have. But if we had 2 million, we could spend up to 2 million on anything we would routinely spend tax money on. So we can't use it to pay off the wastewater treatment plant. We can't put it into a pension fund, but it could be a matching chunk for a fire station. It could purchase property. We could make a donation to a nonprofit. Main Street Arts would very much like us to do that. And I suspect the childcare that's in the community church would also like that. All of those are permissible under this new standard allowance. And when I heard from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, everyone should just file for the standard allowance. It does not restrict you in any way. It opens the doors. Of course, I followed that advice. So that's where we are with that. We have until the end of 2024 to make up our minds what to do with those funds. They must be spent by the end of 2026. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. I would suggest that before May 31st, we devote some real time to understanding the complexities of the fire committee, the fire equipment, and the fire station. I was not happy with the focus during the joint board meeting, and I think it's going to continue. So I'd like us to be extremely well informed when we return to that triple board meeting. I'm really happy that we're there, but I for one feel I have a lot to learn. So I'd like to put that on a personal agenda, at least for myself. I did hear from somebody in town that there is an earlier feasibility study about 20 years old, and I've asked Gary Fox to hunt that down for me. I'd like to read that and its recommendations in terms of fire service for the 3 municipalities. Okay. I think that's the end of our committee reports. I know you have it in front of you, Ellen. Does that look like it? Have we worked the way through all of them?
Hold on one sec. Wastewater treatment plant
is still on there.
Oh, sorry, wastewater treatment plant, of course. So Carl, any updates?
I have nothing.
Okay. And I saw Rob Wheeler last week to sign regular paperwork. Nothing special to add. All right, Stan, I just want to make sure we haven't cut off any reasons that you came. Any comments you want to make at this point in the meeting? We're getting to the really good stuff now, minutes and warrants.
No, I have no questions or anything. Again, just kind of observing at this point.
Great. I really appreciate your attendance. It's great to have you here.
Good beer.
Okay. we are moving on to the minutes. So we have minutes from April 4th and April 8th. If there's no objection, I would like to consider them together. Is that all
No
right with you,
objection.
Carl? You constructed them.
I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of April 4th and April 8th?
I move to approve the minutes from April 4th and April 8th.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second,
Okay. Anything to discuss in these minutes? Carl, Ellen, Rick?
No,
All right, hearing no discussion. It's been moved and approved. The motion has been made to approve the minutes of April 4th and April 8th. It's been seconded. All in favor, raise a hand, please. And it's unanimous. Oh, Rick, I can't see your hand.
my hand is up.
Okay, great. It's unanimous. And we are on to the warrant. So I will share the screen with the warrant. I see there's something in chat. Do I need to $50 each mowing? Okay. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. So I am back to, come on. Okay, here's the warrant. So it's, one of our regular warrants where we suddenly have bills from Coda and Coda, tests for the wastewater treatment plant to be paid to the Village of Bellows Falls, our operator salary to be paid to the Village of Bellows Falls, 3 phone and internet bills, Green Mountain Power, and the Casella disposal for the wastewater treatment plant when they haul the sludge up. So it looks to me like a total of $8,839.91. Is there a motion? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve this amount in the warrant of April 18th?
so I move that we approve the warrant for 11 invoices and a total expense of $8,839.91.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
It's been moved and second to approve the motion of it's been moved and seconded to approve the warrant of April 18th in the amount of $8,839.91, 11 invoices. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask you to vote. All in favor, hold up a hand. And Rick, are
Yep.
you holding up a hand? Okay, so
I
it's
am.
unanimous. All right, let me stop sharing. It's not letting me go back to stop sharing. This is very annoying. Oh, there it is. I'm looking in the wrong place. So typical. Great. Okay, we are up to other business. So I have a little bit of odd business to share with you. Someone has written to the village trustees asking if we know of anybody who would be willing to go into the Saxtons River Cemetery to take a photograph of Harlan Barnes' gravestone. I have verified that he is buried in the cemetery. I confirmed that with the public library, but I do not have a map of the cemetery.
I'll do that.
Will you? That would be great. Thank you. I'll send you the details.
I know where about every Barnes in that cemetery is buried.
Well, I wondered if that would be the case. That's great. Thank you. This is the first time I've known, all sorts of curious queries come our way, but this is the first one I've had of this nature. Great. So Carl will do that.
Okay, so it was
The inn is
Harlan.
closed. We used to get those.
Did you, where at the
you
end?
did?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. I'm going to send it to you, Carl, with all the specifics. She had the date of birth, the date of death. I'll send everything to you. And she would like a picture of the headstone.
Yep,
That's
I can do that.
the kind of genealogy that she is doing. All right, also under other business, the rec contacted me to talk about 2 events that were planned there and to ask whether we were covered by insurance. One was a children's concert and the other was the possibility of a camp out from a neighbor school to Vermont Academy. So I called, we do have an insurance policy through the League of Cities and Towns, and I sent a message to Kelly Knotek, Knotek, asking about our coverage. And we had a great conversation. Her recommendation is that neither of those events be allowed to continue without their own event insurance. We do have coverage, but there are bound to be holes and gaps in it. And she recommended that particularly when children are involved, it only makes sense for the organization, which is benefiting from the use of the rec, to carry the event insurance. I looked back at our application form for the park, and that was the requirement we made for events held at the park. Go ahead, Ellen. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no, that's going to say, so is that true then for any event that they should have their own insurance?
Well, I think it depends a little bit. I mean, both of these events are formal enough. So the individuals contacted us to say, are we covered by your insurance if we hold this event at the rec?
Okay.
And Kelly's advice was to say, no, probably not. You definitely want your own insurance and you can be sued at any time. So get
It's
it.
kind of sounds like a trigger to me too. So if somebody asks, am I covered by your insurance? No, you need to provide your own.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
we do have coverage. And if there's a suit, I'm sure that we would be named as well. But I don't want us to take the hit because Main Street Arts or Vermont Academy or another group does not have coverage.
Well, I just remember from my time on the Saxtons River Rec committee that you know, we would have people signing up for like weddings and birthday parties. So I'm not trying to open a can of worms, but are they then now required
We're
to get?
recommending that they get
Okay.
a 1-day insurance policy for the
Okay.
event. Yes. Those policies are inexpensive. I'm going to put together, League of Cities and Towns has one. It's called, poetically enough, a TULIP, TULIP, stands for the kind of insurance it has. Main Street Arts, I know, has coverage for events that occur within 1,000 feet of Main Street Arts. Obviously, that's not covered by the rec, but contradict me, folks. I mean, I'm going by my discussion with the League of Cities and Towns. I would be happy to have someone else pursue this if you'd like to, but I was fascinated by the fact that the park also recommended as best practice having insurance for events held there.
I don't think we want to be taking on any liability for anybody holding an event on that property.
Well, it does strike me with the pond there.
Yeah.
We have liability just by dint of it existing.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we
Yeah.
should limit our liability as much as we can.
Yeah. So people are okay with that informal decision?
Yeah.
Okay. The minutes should reflect that, Carl, under other business, and I'll bring it up. I did not warn it because it came up at the last minute, but I'll bring it up for approval at another meeting. Is there any other business? All right. What would we like to cover at the next meeting, which is May 6th?
Reorganization.
Reorganization. And my recollection is new trustees get sworn in by the town clerk in Rockingham. Am I remembering that incorrectly? Ellen, you're our newest, or you and Rick. Did you have to get sworn in? No?
There was no formal ceremony or anything like
Okay.
that.
No, you just have to go and take the oath. You didn't do that.
Ellen
Ellen?
doesn't remember. I can tell from the look
Well,
of her
no.
eyebrows.
We took the oath in the meeting, but we didn't go anywhere.
Oh,
So
I
there was
think
no,
maybe, yeah, maybe because of COVID, it was different. We could do it at the meeting.
yeah,
We should follow up and check on that. I think
Okay.
if you're
Yeah.
reelected, you don't, I think if you're reelected, you might not have to because it's a continuation of.
Okay,
I don't
Yeah,
think
'cause
I've
I-
ever been sworn in as a trustee because I was appointed, not elected, and
Even if you're
then you must
appointed,
have been elected.
even if you're appointed, you still, I know at least on the school board, even if you were appointed, you still had to go get sworn in at the town.
I will check on all of this and get back to you at the next meeting.
now I was told that as clerk, Guy Payne would be the one to swear me in. But I don't think it ever actually happened.
But
Yeah,
we
no,
should double
Guy-
check, make sure that everything Carl hasn't done, it doesn't need to be nulled and voided.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I will check with the town clerk. Okay, I would also like us to discuss on May 2nd roles people will fulfill on May 16th. I'm away on vacation that day, and the week previous. So do I have a volunteer, an early volunteer to chair the May 16th meeting? I'll check again with you on the 2nd, but I thought that it might be helpful to have some discussion of that at this point.
Well, whoever is elected as vice chair would be.
So
the
I'm going to
person.
put you down as that probably, Carl.
Thanks.
And I wonder if another member would like to create and post the agenda. I'm looking at you, Ellen and Rick, and I got one more after that too. How's your word processing, Ellen?
my word processing is excellent.
Okay, I think you should do the agenda. And Rick, what
Okay.
that leaves for you is the warrant, creating the warrant. So it means you have to pick up the mail either Friday or Saturday morning and put it into a spreadsheet.
How does Matt get out of all this?
He's not here. We can discuss it at the May 2nd meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
Ellen,
Uh-huh.
for the agenda, you
Mhm.
need to send me that by Friday before the meeting so I can get it posted up on the website.
Yeah, actually, I do recall doing this once before,
great.
maybe like,
Well, I know
I
you
don't
did
know.
it for the fire committee.
yeah, that's right. I did do it for that. So yes.
Yep, that's very similar. Yeah, and you'll notice that we use a very standard agenda. I mean, you know, very similar month to month. Gordon, I haven't had a chance to ask you, would you like to make any comments? And you are muted. I'm not sure I can unmute you. Something seems to be wrong with my,
No, I was muted.
okay.
No, my only comment is, after I heard Rick say, how does Matt get out of this? I thought, I've heard those, I remember hearing those comments back in high school student government. How does so-and-so get out of doing something?
Oh, yeah. Okay, are we ready to discuss an executive session? All right, does anybody feel the need for an executive session tonight? Hearing none, I think we're ready for that magic adjournment. Do I hear a motion? It's been moved to
Yeah.
adjourn. All in favor?
here,
We're good.
gone.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. See you at town meeting. Beat the drum, please.